Okay, this is kind of my introductory video for YouTube and what my channel is going to be about. I may be a little aggravated in this video, even a little frustrated. So if that comes through, I apologize. I just realized that I made an entire video and the record feature on the software I'm using glitched and did not actually start recording. So I have already worked my way through this material once, kind of flying by the seat of my pants, going to try and do it again. So here we go. In a nutshell, I want this channel and the videos to be basically about stuff that I enjoy, stuff that I am enjoying, maybe a little bit of critical review of some of the books I read, TV shows, movies I watch. Most of it will be focused on stuff that I enjoy and why I enjoy it, but there will probably be some criticism out there for other stuff as well, and I'm sure that'll come into play in this video. I am a writer. I tend to write crime slash thriller slash mystery type fiction. It's really hard to tie it down into one genre because it kind of crosses over. Um, Definitely borrows from some old men's adventure fiction type stuff and tropes because that's stuff that I really enjoy and I really enjoy writing. Um, so I wanted to start a channel basically to talk about the type of books I like. Um, Big focus on crime fiction, although we won't hear about as much about that today, except for the fact that I like crime fiction and I'm into it. But also in this introductory video, kind of wanted to do volume one of what I call straight male reads. This is something I started on my blog as kind of a reaction to an article that raised the question, why don't straight men read novels? But yeah, I was completely flabbergasted by that as well. Have read novels for decades. I know many men of all ages who read novels as well, so I didn't even get that. Do straight men typically want to read the majority of the stuff that's published by traditional publishers in Manhattan? No, they don't, because that stuff isn't for them. Some of it is, a little bit of it is, and they read that stuff. But by and large, they're not going to be reading the book of the month from Oprah. They're not going to be reading the popular romance fiction. Some of it they will. Um, a lot of men read Twilight. A lot of men read and enjoyed Twilight. Not me personally, but some do. Whatever, that's your thing. But at the end of the day, straight men do read novels. So, straight male reads is kind of a brief glimpse into the books that I am currently reading or have recently read and what my thoughts are on those books. So, first up, we have The Autumn Republic by Brian McClellan. This is the third book in the Powder Mage trilogy. It's an excellent trilogy. It's Brian McClellan's first trilogy. It is what is termed flintlock fantasy. So it takes place in a fantasy world where magic exists, but flintlock firearms also exist. The basic technological level is about right around the Napoleonic era. Um, Books are excellent. Um, there are two different types of magic in this world. One magic is very traditional magic users who manipulate uh, m- magical force that is called the else, basically ether, and you are able to manipulate different elements and make things happen in the natural world. So fire, ice, all of that good stuff, using air to freeze people in place, different things like that. Um, these magic users are extremely powerful. They hold most of the power in most of the nations of the world, and they are supposed to be subservient to the kings, but there's a little bit of back and forth there because of the power that they wield. These people hate the other types of magic users because those magic users threaten their power. Those other magic users are called powder mages. Powder mages are able to use black powder um, in order to access magical abilities. They can ingest black powder and it gives them superior strength, speed, mental function. It's basically like taking like super speed that gives you super, gives you super speed, super strength, and super cognitive functions. Also, if it's overused, has some of the downsides of drug abuse and alcohol abuse, which I think was a kind of a cool limiting factor on that. Powder mages can also use their power to make, like if they shoot from a musket, a ball out of a musket, they can burn additional powder that they have with them to keep it going further, and they can also use that ability to drift their musket ball so that if it's out of alignment they can bring it back in onto target, so they can hit targets at extreme ranges with with a lot of precision, which makes the other magic users very nervous for obvious reasons because powder mages are a huge threat to them. And we see that throughout this trilogy and also the novellas and short stories and the future trilogy that Brian McClellan also wrote, which isn't as good as the original Powder Mage trilogy, but is definitely worth checking out. So with these magic use, oh, another thing the powder mages can do. This is cool too. They can ignite powder at a distance. So if like an enemy cavalry force is charging them and those guys have powder horns on them, they can cause that to explode and basically have grenades going off within that military formation. So cool stuff. Definitely force multipliers on the battlefield. Fun books. Really enjoy them. Really recommend them to everybody else. Like I said, the novellas and stuff are also good. The short stories are good. The next trilogy is good. It's just not as good as this original core trilogy. But definitely recommend checking it all out. So the next thing I read was Servant of the Crown, which was actually a novella by Brian McClellan. It's a prequel to the Powder Mage trilogy, and it kind of shows one of the main characters of the Powder Mage trilogy, Field Marshal Tamis, working his way up through the military. So he was a commoner and a powder mage. So two strikes against him in gaining rank in the military. The military of his time is very much a nobles only club. And since he's not a member of the nobility, the only way to get uh, officer's rank is for him to do some, very impressive deeds in battle and for the king to award him this. He does end up pulling this off, damn near getting himself killed. And eventually, through the different novellas and short stories, you see him rise through the ranks and how he does it, kind of becoming a counter for his king to the other magic users, which are called the privileged. So the king's trying to kind of balance his power, and he's using Tamis as a powder mage and his other powder mages to do it. One of the interesting things about this world is in some of the nations in this world, powder mages are actually outlawed. If they exist, they're killed outright, or if they exist, people know about them, they're not allowed to use their powers, and if they are, they're executed. Um, so powder mages are definitely the redheaded stepchildren of this world, but they're also definitely some badasses in this world. So cool stuff to check out. Next thing I'm reading is Tropic of Cancer by Henry Miller. Why am I reading this? Why am I doing this to myself? Uh, it's a classic in some circles, and I like to read as much fiction and literature as I can get my hands on because I do kind of like expanding my horizons and seeing what's out there. And I found some classics and some literature I really enjoy. Some I don't. So, Tropic of Cancer. I find it tedious, repetitive, and without much in the way of literary merit. I'm mainly reading it to criticize it from a knowledgeable position. As of right now, I'm a little over halfway through it. Like I said, it's tedious. Been reading it for months. I usually only read it when I'm trying to fall asleep at night because it is so boring and repetitive that I do tend to use it as a sleep aid. Um, it only got published because Anais Nin did a vanity publishing job on it, or paid to have a vanity publishing job done on it because she was fucking him. This is the equivalent of a self-published novel. As a self-published novelist myself, I don't have anything against that. I have something against the quality of it. Um, it only, achieved the notoriety it did because, reactionary fuddy-duddies wanted it banned because it talked, frankly, about sex. It wasn't the first, damn sure won't be the last, and that doesn't somehow make it rise to the level of a classic of literature to me. Um, Different people like it. People see things in it. It's a departure from different type of literature, yada yada yada, whatever. At the end of the day, it's trash, and it's not even good trashy trash that we like to sit down and watch on TV. It's just not worth the paper it's printed on. That's my opinion. Um, you know, people disagree. They're more than welcome to, but honestly, I don't know how you can read this book and really pull anything of any merit out of it. That's not to say Henry Miller never said, wrote, or did anything that had merit. He did. I've read some of those things. But this book was poorly written, poorly edited, and probably should have never been published until after he was dead as a kind of, hey, look at his early stuff. This is the laughable shit he decided not to publish and kept in his attic forever and probably wanted burned when he died. Um, but, it got him a lot of fame. He had a lot of success from it, and I give props to Henry Miller for that. He used this, and as much as I dislike it itself, the book itself, he turned it into a career. He made a career of it, after begging and living off of women he was fucking for years and things of that nature. But, whatever. More power to him. Good on you, Henry. Glad you enjoyed the life you did. Next book up that I read was Star Wars. Let me see if I can get the lighting in there so you can actually see the cover. The lighting in here sucks, but this is Star Wars X-Wing: The Krynos Trap. It's the third book in Michael A. Stackpole's X-Wing series. These books are expanded universe novels. I will never use the term legends because Disney Star Wars is trash. These books are excellent. If you want good Star Wars, I highly recommend you dip your feet into the expanded universe books. I would buy them used and not give Disney Star Wars any money because they're not even paying royalties to these authors, so fuck them. But these books are good. These aren't the best of the expanded universe novels. I'm actually working my way up to those, but these are really fun, pretty compact military science fiction novels, basically around two different squadrons. The first few novels are about Rogue Squadron and Wedge Antilles reforming Rogue Squadron and going out and going after the remnants of the Empire. Um, and then there's also not really a spin-off series, but a continuation of it called Wraith Squadron. And Wraith Squadron they're kind of a combination of fighter pilots and commandos, so they can do some more fun stuff. The Wraith Squadron books, I believe, are written by Aaron Alliston. I think I'm on like book 7 right now, which is Solo Command, which is a book that takes place right before one of my favorite Star Wars Expanded Universe novels, which is The Courtship of Princess Leia, where we see Han Solo finally step up and prove to Leia that he does want to be her husband. And he's trying to show her that he actually has something to offer her. He's not just some smuggler bouncing around in his tramp freighter. So, good stuff coming. I'm sure I'll be talking about more Star Wars. It's all the books I have for now. I'm definitely going to talk more about different things I'm reading. Hopefully, we'll get into some crime fiction soon. And hopefully, people enjoy what I have to say. Again, you don't have to agree with me. We can disagree. I'm cool with that. If you're wrong on the facts, you're wrong on the facts. If I'm wrong on the facts, let me know. I'll do my research and see if that is actually the case. I can have my mind changed. I'm not opposed to that. There's definitely books I read in the past that I reread later that I found more value in them later on. And then there's stuff that I've gone back and reread and went, wow, this really wasn't that good. So, same thing with movies, film, television. I'm sure I will talk about movies I like, TV I like. So, hopefully, we'll have a lot of fun. If not, oh well. I'll do this as long as it's fun for me. And the minute it stops becoming fun, I'll stop doing it. So, this is a really rough video. Again, lighting's terrible. Hopefully the sound quality is decent. The video quality I know kind of sucks. I'm going to work on that, but I'm starting out cheap to see if this is even worth doing it. And if it becomes something that I really get into or have any success with, then, I can invest in more expensive stuff then. But for now, I'm just kind of making do with what I have and having fun. So, hope you're here having fun with me. If not, piss off. If you are, like, share, subscribe, all that good shit.